Get ready with me while I talk about one of the weirdest friendships I've ever had. And as always, I want you guys to be getting ready with me, so bookmark this video if you have to. And you don't have to just get ready, you can garden, you can take a shit, you can literally do whatever you want, but we're on FaceTime. So this also happened a long time ago. And no, I did not meet this girl on Tinder or Hinge. I actually met her on Bumble BFF. Because at the time, I had just realized that Bumble had like a friends feature, and the job that I worked, like I worked by myself, so like it wasn't really a good opportunity to make friends. I wasn't in school, so like I was just like, I need to put myself out there more. And this is when I meet this girl who, for the sake of the story, I'm gonna call Cindy. And I remember thinking that she was like really cool and being like kind of shocked that she was like wanted to be friends with me too, because at the time I feel like you guys can pick up on the fact that I didn't have great self-esteem, but she was like really pretty, and she had like bleach blonde hair and like a bunch of tattoos. Like she wasn't alternative, but she had like a very cute like clean girl style. Like she reminded me of somebody who would be like popular in high school and probably like would have bullied me, you know what I mean? And I just want to say, like, I never like judge people from that. Like obviously we're not in fucking high school anymore, but I don't know, I thought she was really cool. And we started texting, and we like are immediately like hitting it off, like literally texting every single day, like making plans to hang out. And we had like a lot in common. Like she listened to a lot of the same music that I listened to, and like watched a lot of the same like YouTubers and shows, etc. And eventually we start hanging out, and we start to get like pretty close in a pretty short period of time. And she had a boyfriend, which something I've noticed, most of the girls that you meet on Bumble BFF are girls who have boyfriends whose boyfriends are awful. And that was kind of the situation that she was in. And me and her bonded a lot because we both have BPD, so like I kind of understood her on a level, like a deeper level than most people do. But her boyfriend was just really fucking annoying. Like he was always like yelling at her about the shit that she wears and just being up her ass about everything. And it got to the point where me and her like couldn't really hang out unless he was there. And they lived together, so like I mean he was always there if I went where she lived. But it got to the point where he like wanted to come to my house. Like he literally like we couldn't escape the man. But they would argue all the time, so I did my best to get her out of the house, and we would go out and do shit. And the biggest thing that I noticed was, like I said before, like she was like kind of a more, I guess like basic, like mainstream type of pretty. So when we would go out, like she was constantly getting hit on, and like she never really like told them to stop, but she didn't really like entertain it either. I don't know, but it was like kind of detrimental to my self-esteem at the time, because like literally like we would be out to eat at like a fucking cheesecake factory, and like guys would come over and be like, oh, like, hey Cindy, like, do you remember me from like blah blah blah, and just like be hitting on her, and they wouldn't even introduce themselves to me. Like it was like I was invisible. And I think it's because I'm alternative, and obviously you know, I don't know. But anyways, that kind of just continued to happen, and over time she started to kind of entertain these guys a lot more than she was before, which kind of made me uncomfortable, because as much as I hated her boyfriend, like I don't think that you should be entertaining other people. Like I've been telling her to just break up with him. So I don't know, like we would like go to like a party, and she would end up like dancing on a guy. And I have this thing where like I won't be friends with cheaters, because if you're gonna cheat on the person that you're supposed to love, like what are you gonna do to me? So I kind of like tried to have a talk with her about it, and I was like, look, like I know you're not like technically cheating, but like what you're doing is like kind of weird, and like if you want to keep doing that stuff, you should probably break up with Caleb. I don't know if I gave him a fake name already, but I'm gonna call him Caleb. And she was like, no, you're right, but me and him have been fighting, so I don't see it lasting long anyway. But she would say that all the time, because she, just like me, had attachment issues. So she would like be like, oh fuck him, I'm gonna break up with him, and then they would be back together in a fucking week. But anyways, one day I'm just like chilling in my house, and she's arguing with him again. She's like sending me screenshots and being like, he's so fucking annoying, like he doesn't get it, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, fuck him. Like I'm like manifesting them breaking up. And because me and her were so close, like I followed her boyfriend on Instagram. Like me and him like followed each other. Like it was I don't know, like just because I had been around him so much, because he was just like always around. And while she's texting me this, I get a DM from him. And now I'm like, why the fuck is Caleb DMing me? So I open it, and he's just like, hey. And I'm like, hi? Because in my mind, I was thinking like, I don't know, like maybe he's like worried about her safety, or like maybe like the argument is getting really serious and he wants me to just like check on her, and that's why he's texting me. So that's the only reason why I answered, because guys, I'm a little bit oblivious. I don't assume that people have bad intentions most of the time. So I don't know, maybe this went right over my head, but anyway. So he's like, can I ask you something, but you can't tell Cindy? And obviously I'm gonna tell Cindy whatever he asks me, but I'm curious, because I was like, I mean, that's like an ominous thing to say. So I'm like, what is it? This man, like, he says to me, have you ever thought about fucking me? What? So now my jaw is on the fucking floor. Out of literally every single thing that I expected him to say to me, it was not that. And I was frankly disgusted, because this man was like awful, like god awful. Like literally, I already didn't like him, so I don't know why he maybe got the impression that I was somewhat interested. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. But I respond, absolutely not, and then I take a screenshot of the conversation because I'm about to call her. But before I can even call her, she calls me. So I pick up and she's like bawling her eyes out. She's like, Caleb doesn't understand me, like he'll never understand. She's going on a whole rant about how, like, I don't know, he's just a bad boyfriend and everything. And I felt bad because, like, I have such a guilty conscience. I can't keep things from people, and I knew it probably wasn't the best time because she was already like freaking the fuck out. But I was just like, I have to tell her like right now. So I was like, girl, I need to talk to you because something really crazy just happened, and like, I know that you're upset. And it's probably gonna make you more upset, but like, I have to tell you this. It's important. And she's like, what? So I send her a screenshot of what happened, and I'm like, this is really fucking weird. I don't know why he would ever get the impression that this is okay to say to me. She goes completely silent, like fully and completely silent, and she's like, I'm gonna call you back. So I'm assuming she's gonna go beat his ass, like verbally, as she should. And then I don't know, it's like an hour goes by and she hasn't talked to me at all. So now I'm worried about her, and I'm like, are they still arguing? Like, what the hell is happening? So I'm texting her, no reply, and then I don't know, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours later, she texts me and she's like, we need to talk. I'm like, huh? So I answer her call and she's like, you're such a fucking bad friend. Like, I can't believe I ever trusted you. Like, this is why I don't have girlfriends. Like, bitches are fucking weird. You're weird. And I'm like, hold on, slow down. What did I do? Like, I felt like that lady in the Walmart. What'd I do? Like, literally, I was just like, what the fuck did I do? So somehow, Caleb manipulated her into like believing that I had been like secretly flirting with him and like secretly like just like making like seductive like eye contact with him, and like I don't know, just like hinting to him for like the entirety of me knowing her that like I secretly wanted him. Which, let me tell you, if I was looking at him anyway, it was with a nasty look, because like I've said multiple times, this man was dark-sided. Like, I literally, the only reason I was ever even around him to begin with was because it was her boyfriend. Like, I did not want to be around that man. So obviously this is just a crock of shit because he's trying to like manipulate her into not leaving him because I just exposed him. Like, I don't know if he just wanted to fuck me and like wanted to risk it for the biscuit. I don't know if he somehow got a weird, I don't know why this happened. So she continues to crash out on me. I'm just like, you know what? If you want to believe that, that's fine. But like, it's really obvious that he's lying to you. Like, it's actually insanely obvious, and you look really dumb if you believe him. Like, you know I hate your boyfriend. I literally did my best to get you out of the house and away from him so I didn't have to hang out with him. I would literally rather myself than go within a vicinity of your boyfriend when you are not there and I'm forced to be there. Like, I literally was just like, you know what? Like, you can believe that I'm weird or whatever, but you're literally going to be going back to a man that tried to cheat on you with your best friend. And at the end of the day, I sent that shit to you right away. I would never do that, literally ever. So she just hangs up on me, and I don't know, I think it's like a week goes by and we just don't talk. And obviously, like, I'm really hurt by this. Like, this like really like affected me because like, what the fuck? Like, it literally just came out of nowhere, and then I get blamed because her boyfriend's a scumbag. Like, what? But anyways, like I said, a week goes by and she calls me and I'm like, what? So I didn't answer it because I'm just like, what the fuck? So then she texts me and she starts like blowing up my phone. She's like, please answer, I need to talk to you, it's important, blah, blah, blah. So it turns out, I guess, like, she believed whatever he said, and then like they went out or something and he got a few too many beverages and they got into an argument, and he basically like admitted to her that like he was like, oh, I wish that like I fucked your best friend, blah, blah, blah. Like, he just like started talking shit and basically exposed himself. So then she's like bawling her eyes out on the phone with me, apologizing, and I had a soft spot for her, so I was just like I feel bad because like she's literally crying and I had no backbone. So I was like, okay, like, it's fine, girl, just like don't do something like that again. So we become friends again. But mind you, they did not break up. Like, now they're still together after all this, which I'm like very weirded out by. And this kind of like starts her descent into madness. After this point, she was like not the same girl that I knew before. Like, she was like super depressed, like everything, which I understand, but she started being like really mean to me, like in like very like subtle ways at first, but like I don't like, no, like it was just like she would be like, you know, that shirt looks like really ugly with those pants, like you should probably change it. And I'd be like, oh, like really? Because I was very naive, so I'd be like, oh, like okay, like I'll go change it. And then like I would like change multiple outfits, and every time she would tell me I look ugly. Or she would be like, you know that your eyebrows look uneven, right? Like, she would just like make small comments that I could tell she was trying to get me to be like insecure about myself, but like obviously like I just believed that she was trying to help me, so I never really like questioned it. One day we're hanging out and I don't really remember what we were doing. We were getting ready for something, and she was just like, oh my God, like, I honestly am so happy that I don't have such a fucking big nose like you do. And this, like, was, like, my final straw, because I was getting fed up with her, like, saying crazy shit to me. But, like, I think I've mentioned this before, guys. Like, I've always been really insecure about my nose. And, like, she knows that. She knew more than anybody how, like, insecure I was about it. So I was just like, okay, what the fuck is your problem? Like, literally, what did I do for you to start being so fucking mean to me? Like, I've been nothing but a good friend to you, and I've been supporting you in, like, this really shitty time that you're going through, but you're being, like, a total bitch, and I don't understand why. Because I just, like, I lost it. Like, eventually I'm gonna snap, you know? Me saying that triggered like a full and complete crash out from this girl. She starts screaming at me. She's in my face. She's like, it must be so fucking easy for you. Like, you're skinny and you're pretty and you're talented. Like, I don't have shit. My fucking boyfriend doesn't even want me. He wants you. Like, everybody fucking likes you. Like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I have fucking nothing. Like, literally going on a rant. And she's just like, you literally, like, you play in my face all the time. You know you're better than me. I'm like, hold on, what? Because, mind you, our entire friendship, she was the one that was getting hit on. She was the one that was getting all the attention. She was the one that people would come up to. So now I'm really confused. I'm like, what do you mean me? Because like I said before, like my self-esteem was like suffering because whenever we would go out somewhere, like she was getting complimented, like she was getting all the attention, and like no one ever gave a fuck about me. And I don't know, maybe it was just the fact that she got attention from everybody else, and then like her boyfriend, who like I said, she wanted the attention from, like wanted me, that bothered her. But like I never told her to go back to him. She should have fucking left him. And honestly, it was really weird and awkward. And I hated hanging out with her, like, after that. Because, like, if I had to go over there, I had to, like, see him. And it was really awkward. And, like, they would try to pretend like nothing happened. But there was, like, a weird tension. You know what I mean? So I was just like, girl, I'm not your fucking enemy. Your enemy is your boyfriend. I don't know why you went back to him. Like, if he's putting all these, like, ideas in your head when, like now you're, like, insecure and you, like, hate yourself. Like, you need to leave him. Because I've done nothing but support you in your little worst times. And I was just like literally, like everybody knows that you're beautiful. Everybody knows that you're funny, that you're interesting. Like you are so much more than like whatever this stupid man is making you believe. But my words were falling on deaf ears, and it just, you know, at this point she's like fully sobbing, and I just start comforting her because she was like acting like she was about to do something crazy. So I'm comforting her. She never really apologizes for what she said to me, but then after that, like, it was weird. Like, once again, just kind of like acted like nothing happened. And we go out, I don't know, I think it was like a week later, and I forget where we were. I think we were at some sort of like party or whatever. It might have been a frat party. And she has a lot of beverages. And once again, all these guys are hitting on her. Nobody's hitting on me. And I'm just trying to have fun, but she fucking disappears. And this is like a thing that I just hate. Like, this happened to me a lot of times. Like, I hate when people bring me to a party and then fucking disappear. Like, what am I supposed to do with myself? But anyway, I go outside to get some air because I just didn't want to be there anymore, and I was about to like literally call an Uber because I'm calling her and she's not answering me. But then I hear her voice coming from like behind this like area with a bunch of plants and like bushes. So I go over there and she's getting raw dogged behind the fucking bushes by some random guy. So she sees me and she just like is like telling me to leave. Now I'm like, all right, bitch, you're too fucking messy for me. You're too messy for me. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it, all this. So I just texted her and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is all too much. Like, I don't even know why you would stay with your boyfriend who literally gave you an out to leave him just so you could cheat on him with some random guy and leave me alone at a party where I don't know anybody. I feel like that's the worst thing you can do. It's like so against girl code. I was just like, at this point, she had put me through so much random shit that I was like, I'm good on this. And if you guys want an update, they are still together. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure she did end up telling him that she cheated on him, but she's also pregnant with his kid now. So yeah, God bless. God bless. But anyways, thank you guys so much for getting ready with me. I'm probably gonna stream tonight. I don't know if you can put like live notifications on, but if you guys don't want to miss my lives or whatever, I'm gonna start going live on here and then eventually move to Twitch and I'll figure it out. But yeah, stream my album and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
A few months ago, I went on a second date with a guy who was a few years older than me. He was like 29. And we had gone on our first date to like a brewery. We just grabbed drinks. It was like mellow. We just got to know each other. Typical first date. Second date, he was like, oh, I want to take you somewhere nice. Like, I'm going to get us reservations for this restaurant in town. Have you ever been there? I hadn't. So he was like, okay, yeah, like, I think you should try this restaurant with me. Makes the reservation. Reservation is at like 7:30. So we go and meet up at a bar across the street at like, we were supposed to meet up at 6:45. I was running a little bit late, but had kind of told him, like, I'm having a chaotic day. Like, I will try to be there by 7. And so meet up at 7 across the street, grab a drink, go across the street to the restaurant for our reservation. We sit down, order drinks there. And then, we're chatting. We talk about the menu. He tells me what he recommends off the menu. And then our waitress comes and she's like, hey, are you guys ready to order? Like, do you know what you want? And he was like, no, I think we need like 5 more minutes. And so she walks away. I was like, okay, maybe I didn't make it like clear, like, oh, I think I'm gonna get this. So I said it like, oh yeah, like the thing you recommended sounds good, you know, like I think I'm gonna do that. We're sitting there, we're chatting, waitress comes by again. Hey, do you guys know what you want? He says, no, I think we need like 5 more minutes. I was like, well, maybe he just doesn't want to interrupt like our conversation. We're having like a good conversation. So maybe he just wants to like continue the momentum of the conversation. She comes back again. He proceeds to tell her we need 5 more minutes for 2 hours. 2 hours. We're sitting there having a conversation, and I'm a great conversationalist. So, like, we just keep it going. It doesn't get, like, awkward. The conversation doesn't slow down. But at some point, I'm like, when are we gonna, like, order, you know? So he goes to the bathroom. The waitress comes to me. I'm sure I've been, like, blinking in Morse code, help me. I'm starving to death. Because when we were at the first bar, before we went across the street, he asked me if I was hungry, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like, I had such a chaotic day, I'm so excited to just, like, chill out and eat. So he knew I was hungry. The waitress comes by while he's in the restroom, and she's like, do you know what you want? I was like, yeah, I think when he gets back from the bathroom, we'll be ready to eat, like, ready to order. Because I didn't want to order, if he was going to pay, I didn't want to order while he was in the bathroom. I thought that would be rude. So he comes back, we're chatting. The waitress comes back and she asks if we're ready to order, and he says we need 5 more minutes. Finally, the waitress comes back and she's like, we are closing the kitchen. Did you guys want to order some food? He turns to me and he's like, are you even, like, hungry? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty hungry. Like, I'm sitting here in my brain like, what the fuck are you talking about? Am I hungry? Like, I told you 3 hours ago I was hungry. So we order an entree to share, and it was really good. The food was great. It comes out, he goes and takes a bite and immediately burns the roof of his mouth on the food. So he's sitting there pouting while I'm kind of like still picking at the food, like blowing on it to cool it down because I'm starving. And he goes, oh, like, I can't even taste anything because I burned my mouth. You can eat the whole thing if you want. Like, I don't care if you eat the whole thing. So I did. I ate the whole thing because I was like, you kept me waiting here. It's now been 2.5 hours since our reservation. It's 10 p.m. They are closing the kitchen. And by the end of the date, the tone was just kind of nasty because we had started talking about tattoos. I have tattoos on my arms, and he had tattoos on like his chest, arms, like legs, all of it. And he was asking me, because I had a tattoo appointment coming up, he was like, how much do you spend on your tattoos? And I was like, you know, I typically don't really discuss that kind of thing with people because I feel like tattoo pricing ranges so much depending on style and your artist and where it's placed on the body. But I told him, I was like, you know, like, typically it's in this like ballpark range because I have like bigger pieces. And he started scoffing at me. Like I've never spent that much on a tattoo before. I've never spent over $200 on a tattoo. And I was like, well, my artist has 2 kids, and I feel like I'm supporting her family by continuing to go to her and provide her my business. And he was just like talking down at me basically for how much I've spent on my tattoos and insinuating that I'm getting scammed by my artist who I have a great relationship with. So I also felt like the fact that he was being weird about ordering food for both of us, I almost want to say it was like a money thing where it was like he couldn't afford the restaurant that he picked to take me to and was hoping that we would just get drinks and leave. But it's like I never asked him to take me to like this nice restaurant. This was something he said he wanted to do. And so to be upset with me that I do spend money on myself and my appearance and things that make me happy, because you're upset that you're the one paying for a nice dinner you asked to take me to, I was just confused. And then usually when I'm on like a first, second, or even like sometimes a third date, I will plan something for after the date so that I have an excuse to leave if I feel like things aren't going well. So I was like, oh yeah, I did tell my friend I was gonna go help her like put together her bed frame tonight. And you know, it's getting late. It was like 10:30 at this point. I was like, I really need to like go help her out because otherwise she doesn't have a bed frame put together to sleep on tonight. And I was offering to like stay with him and wait for the check and like hang out. And he was like, no, you can go. Just go. I was like, okay, well, have a good night. Like, I was just so confused. I was like, I don't know what I did to warrant being spoken to this way. I thought the date was going pretty well until the tattoo conversation came up. So the fact that it spiraled out of control from there was just very confusing to me.
I'm going to tell you the story of how a doctor lied to me and convinced me to get a surgery that I didn't need, and now I'm stuck with a chronic illness for the rest of my life. Backstory, I have had chronic acid reflux since I was literally an infant. Like, I've just always had acid reflux. It's been a problem my whole life. It got severely worse the older I got, to the point where I was taking like prescription acid reflux medications, and even the highest dose of those was not handling the acid in my stomach. It was just really painful all the time, so I finally decided I needed to go to a specialist. So I was referred by my primary to a specialist. He was super nice at first and made me feel like he was really taking me seriously and he wanted to help me. So he scheduled me for an endoscopy. If you don't know what that is, that's wherever they go through your mouth and like look at your throat with a camera. And whenever I had that, they were also going to attach a little sensor to the bottom of my esophagus and leave it inside, and it would track the levels of acid I had. So I had my endoscopy, and then I had that, and they tracked the levels. Then I had my follow-up appointment with him to go over the results. And he said that on like a scale of 1 to 10, I was a 10 on the level of acid. And that I needed the surgery to fix this ASAP, because if I didn't get the surgery, I was already precancerous, and there was like 100% chance that I would be having cancer in my throat. So the surgery that I got was called Nissen fundoplication. If you don't know what Nissen fundoplication is, it's where they take your stomach and tie it around the base of your esophagus to make your esophagus like tighter and the hole like stay closed, whatever. It's like complicated, but that's like the gist of what the surgery is. I had the surgery. On the day of the surgery, he showed up 2 hours late. I was stuck on an IV just laying in my room for 2 hours waiting for the surgery. He did not come and speak to my mother or me on the day of my surgery. And then after my surgery, he refused to come and speak to me or my mother. We only got to speak to a nurse. So I actually never saw him again after my consultation. We've never spoken since. I've called his office about 300 times. I have only been able to get through to nurses, and I have never been able to hear from him ever again. He refuses to see me. So that should be telling in itself. After the surgery, I was supposed to be on a week-long liquid diet, and then I could slowly introduce like soft foods and then solid foods, and it should take about like maybe a month at the longest. I ended up having to be on a liquid diet for 6 months. I lost 40 pounds. I was already underweight, so that was really bad. I looked decrepit. I looked disgusting. I was so insecure, and I was in hell because I couldn't eat, so I was starving all the time. He ended up making the hole too small, so I just could not swallow absolutely anything, and he refused to do a revision because he said I was fine. Well, he didn't say I was fine because I actually never saw him again, like I said, so his nurse said I was fine. He said it was totally normal, actually. Everything I was experiencing was totally normal, which didn't make sense because he said that the normal recovery time was 2 weeks and you're back to normal. So 6 months of having to drink liquids and severely being underweight doesn't really sound normal. Now, every time I would try to swallow anything, even soft foods, anything that wasn't liquid, it would get stuck here, and I would have to literally beat my chest to try to get it to shoot back out because otherwise I'd die. So that went on for so long. Finally, I ended up gagging so much from being so nauseous and sick all the time, because it also gave me chronic nausea, like debilitating room spinning nausea that I had never had before. And when that was happening, I would dry heave, but after you get the surgery, you can't throw up. So I would just dry heave for hours and hours. But then after a while, I finally dry heaved enough to the point that I ripped my stitches open, and so then I could swallow food again. Before this surgery, my only stomach issue I ever had was acid reflux. But after the surgery, I have had like chronic insufferable stomach issues ever since. Diarrhea, nausea. Every time I eat, I get cold sweats and almost pass out. Sometimes I do pass out after I eat, even something really small. Afterwards, I ended up going to a non-surgical gastroenterologist. I love him. He actually yelled and said, "This is fucking ridiculous," whenever I told him my story, and read my chart and looked me in my eyes and said, "I don't know what they were telling you, but you were never precancerous. You were actually only a 5 on the scale, which meant that it could have been treated with different medications, and you should have never had surgery. He just wanted to make money." And he told me that unfortunately there's nothing he can do. Undoing the surgery wouldn't help me, and I just kind of had to live with the symptoms now. So yeah, that's how I went in to get an acid reflux surgery and ended up with a lifelong horrible chronic illness.
So this is a story of why my brother and his wife are not invited to our wedding this summer. So the relationship with my sister-in-law has been really rocky. Basically, the last, I would say, like 10 years. I'm 27, she's in her 40s, early 40s. They've been together for 18 years. My oldest niece is almost 18. So when they got together, I was really young, and she's just never been able to recognize that I'm an adult and can make my own decisions now. She said to me at one point that it's hard for her to not see an 8-year-old anymore, which, to her credit, I can understand that to a point. But instead of trying to have a relationship with me as an adult, she has only ever treated me like a child. And really, this decision was made after my sister-in-law posted on Facebook something that was just super hateful and obviously geared toward my sister and I. The post said something about aunts being so important in nieces and nephews' lives, and too bad that the only aunts in her kids' lives that choose her children are not blood relatives. And that was my final straw of being publicly embarrassed by her, I guess. And for the record, my brother's been in the military his whole, basically my whole life, and they've never lived in the same state as us. And when they got together was 18 years ago, so I was a literal child, and I couldn't choose to go where they were. They didn't come here very often, so it's not like they lived down the street and we just choose not to see them. Okay, there's so much to this story. I was really hoping I could get it down to the nitty gritty, but go to the next part to hear about wedding dress shopping, my dad being in emergency surgery, and family group texts. This is part 2 of why my brother and his wife are not invited to our wedding this summer. So the drama really started when we decided to not have our wedding here, to have our wedding in Mexico. And I didn't think that anyone was really going to be upset about that, because there was over a year of notice, and we let everyone know this is a really big ask, and we understand that it's a destination wedding, and even though it seems pretty affordable, that it's not realistic for everybody. And when I told my brother and his wife, she immediately, without even hesitation or thinking, said, we're not going to be able to come. And when I asked, why is it money? What is it? And she just had every reason in the book to say that they couldn't be there. And that was really disappointing to me, because my brother's one of my favorite people in the world. And that was just really hard and really disappointing. But that's not even the big deal. The big deal was I thought that there was a chance that they would still go, and they were in town, and I planned a trip wedding dress shopping for the very first time with my sister-in-law and my nieces, because I really thought that it would be a fun experience to share with them. I was so excited. It was me, my mom, my sister, my sister-in-law, and then my 2 nieces. And we get to the store. I got there early, and just because I know her, I literally had to get there to apologize to the poor girl that was working that day ahead of time, because I did not know what my sister-in-law's behavior was going to be like. That in itself, I feel like, should be really telling, and I should have known better, but I was right in apologizing ahead of time. So the very first dress I put on, it had a big train, and I told the girl, I don't really think I want a big train, because we're getting married in Mexico, and I just don't want to have to worry about sand and dirt and whatever. And my sister-in-law literally looks up. I'm in a wedding dress standing on the little pedestal, and she goes, so you're still planning on doing that? And all I said was, yep. And she said, well, we're not going to be there. And my heart just started racing, because I really didn't want any kind of confrontation or conflict. And so I just went and tried on another dress, and the girl was like, you were right. That was rough. And that was so embarrassing to me. I was dying. So then we go through all the dresses, and the whole time, I won't post the pictures, but the whole time my sister's taking pictures of me in dresses. My mom's having a good time. Everyone's excited, but my sister-in-law is literally sat in the back like this. Stink face the whole time, like giving me the dirtiest, most hateful looks. And honestly, I don't know why I'm the one embarrassed, because really she should be embarrassed of her behavior. But that's not even the worst of it. The very like cherry on top moment was when I put on the last dress. It was just kind of a for fun dress. It wasn't anything I was super interested in. I put it on, I come out and I said, oh my gosh, this is definitely not it. I look like a linebacker. This makes my shoulders look so broad. Dead faced looks at me in the mirror from behind me. I'm standing in the mirror looking at myself in a wedding dress, and she says, you don't look like a linebacker. You look like a prepubescent little boy. That does absolutely nothing for you. And I am not exaggerating. I am not changing words. That is exactly what she said to me. And I just had tears just well up in my eyes, and I ran to the dressing room with the girl, and I just started bawling. I was just sobbing. And she, the cute girl, she was so sweet, and she just hugged me, and she was like, I'm so sorry. That was so awful. And every time I've told this story, I feel like it sounds so made up. Like there's no way that was real life, but it was 100%. That is the kind of person that she is. And it was just so disappointing to me that that was the experience I had the first time I was dress shopping. And that was me extending an olive branch. I was trying to do something nice. I was really trying to pacify the situation that I didn't even cause problems in, really. And that's how I was treated. It still blows my mind to this day. And I got in the car with my sister, and I was so angry. I called my fiance, and I was like, that's it. We're done. I'm uninviting them. I want nothing to do with this. This is not fair that I was treated this way today, and that is forever going to be my first experience wedding dress shopping. And I said, I'm going to call my brother. Like, I was ready to just blow everything up and just really piss everyone off. And I decided against it because I don't want to cause problems. I don't want to be such a source of tension. And in that moment, I think it was the right decision. In hindsight, I wish I had said something sooner. All that to say, at this point, they were still invited, and there's a whole lot more that actually was the deciding factor in not inviting them. Scotty, my fiance, was the voice of reason in that moment and said, don't do something now that you're going to regret later. And I think that that's really wise, because it's easy for me to act out of emotion, where he was kind of outside the situation and understood I was upset and made me think things through a little bit. Anyway, I think there's going to be so many parts to this, so that'll be coming. This is getting too long.
So I used to work backstage in the concert industry, and I never signed an NDA, so I can spill all the tea. Everybody has been requesting the Sabrina Carpenter show. I will get there. I promise that's going to be in my next video. But this one, I wanted to discuss the worst show that I ever worked. And no, it wasn't Nicki Minaj. The worst show that I ever worked was for a duo called Dan and Shay. I had never even heard of them before. But like after I looked them up on Spotify, I was like, wait, you know what? I feel like I've heard a couple of these songs because my friends like country. Anyways, flash forward to backstage. I work in the dressing rooms. They also decided to throw a little party backstage. I think it was before the show. They wanted to have like a pre-show hype up party, which is fine. But I need to preface this by saying it is a sweltering hot day in North Carolina. This show was at an outdoor amphitheater, and I want to say it was like 90 to 100 degrees. It was extremely humid. Some artists like to hire people to come backstage in terms of like, you can have like a massage person come, or you can have puppies. There's like a local shelter that will bring puppies backstage for the artists and all of their little guests and groupies to play with. This was one of those shows. So we had a random delivery of like 5 puppies or something backstage. So we had like a little playpen with puppies. Mind you, it is so hot. They were not in the shade, and I was like, this seems like a animal rights violation. But the little girl groupies that they had, I mean, I'm telling you, they had like a bunch of like young girls with them backstage, and they were obsessed with the puppies. They were just playing with them, whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, please get them some shade, like put a tent over them. But that's not even the worst part. So I was setting up their little party thing, and I'll show you in a second. So this was like kind of like their little setup that they had, and I did all of that. But it wasn't ready yet. The party wasn't even taking place yet. And one of the artists, Dan, Shay, I don't know which one. To be honest, I don't know who they are. So I couldn't tell who from who. I knew one of them was like kind of hot and one of them was not hot. But one of them, he was standing there on the phone while I was like putting everything together. And it was a heated debate or argument that he was on the phone. I don't know who he was talking to, but I can only assume it was his significant other or his girlfriend, wife. I don't know his story. But he was screaming at her at the top of his lungs, like basically saying like, you fucking bitch, like blah 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 blah, like cussing her out and like telling her that she, like, just degrading her over the phone. And it's just me and him. Like he went over there to hide because the party wasn't ready yet, and like I'm just there setting up and was like, should I leave? So I started to sort of like slowly walk away, and he noticed that I was there, continued to completely degrade this woman on the phone, and then walks away slowly and gives me like a dirty look. And I was like, sir, you're not that big. Like, this is disgusting behavior. And so from that point on, I never worked another country show because I've heard a lot of bad things about the country artists. And I was supposed to work Post Malone, but ended up being out of town, so I couldn't work Post Malone. But he's the one exception that I would have made, like, was to work Post Malone. I did get offered to like go on tour with him with my friends, because the tour manager, I guess, like really hit it off with him. I don't know, but didn't end up going, or to his after party or whatever in Charlotte. Didn't end up going. But yeah, Dan and Shay, they had those puppies in the heat. They were screaming at some poor lady on the phone, probably their wife. Honestly, they were awful people. So I have no regret posting this and outing them.
Ready with me while I tell you the story of how a girl I met on Bumble BFF turned out to be kind of a stalker. I met this girl on Bumble BFF named Alex. The very first time we ever hung out, we went to this dive bar, and she seemed super cool, like really sweet, very fun. And at the end of the night, she was like, oh, share your location with me. I'll add you on Find My Friends. Looking back, it should have been a red flag, and I definitely should have said no. But she seemed really nice, and I needed friends. We started hanging out a lot, and she's calling and texting me every day. We're hanging out like 3 or 4 days a week. We're both single at this point, so we were just sort of in the same mindset, like we wanted to go out and have fun. So she introduces me to some of her other friends, and I really hit it off with her friend named Katie. Alex was out of town one weekend, so I asked Katie if she wanted to go out, and we're out at dinner, and I look down at my phone, and I have 9 missed calls from Alex. So I text her and I say, hey, what's up? She responds and says, you know what you're doing, you better stop. And then she won't respond to any of my other texts. And Katie's like, oh, she probably just saw that we're together since she has our location. Like, she gets bad FOMO. It's fine, just ignore her. And I'm like, okay. So I don't hear from Alex for the rest of the weekend. And then on Sunday at like 9 p.m. at night, I get a knock on my door, and it's Alex. And she sort of apologizes, but then she basically tells me that she doesn't think it's appropriate if I hang out with her friends when she's not around. And I'm like, I mean, that's weird. But I say to her, I'm like, okay, whatever, because at that point she's just kind of freaking me out. So after this, I sort of start distancing myself from her. I'm not really responding to her texts as much. When she asks me to hang out, I say I'm busy. But then the Instagram posts start. And at first it's just group pictures, like with a few of us. But then she starts posting pictures of just her and I. And the captions are wild. She's posting about like meeting your twin flame and how friends can turn out to be your soulmate. And it's really freaking me out. So I block her on Instagram. I block her number, and it's been like 2 weeks now and I haven't heard from her. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then one night I'm in a restaurant on a date and in walks Alex. And at first I think it's just a coincidence, but then she walks right up to our table and says, Kirsten, I need to talk to you. Well, it turns out when you block someone's number, it doesn't actually block them on Find My Friends. She basically just starts yelling at me and telling me what a terrible friend I am, basically screaming in this restaurant. And then when she's finally done, I tell her I don't want to be friends anymore and I really just want to be left alone. So she storms out of the restaurant. And then a week later, she moves into the apartment down the hall from me.
So I went on my first date of 2025 a couple days ago, and it did not go well. I met this guy on Hinge, and we were supposed to go to the mall and shop at 1. I showed up at 12:50, and I had a text from him saying that he had gone to the bank and did some other stuff, and so he's not going to be there until 1:30. A couple minutes later, I get a text from him that says, actually, I just left my house. Well, he lived an hour and 10 minutes away. So I was a little annoyed at that point just because he's definitely wasn't punctual. I just went and did some shopping by myself and then sat in my car and watched TikToks. Once he finally texted me that he was there, I went ahead and I parked where he was and I could see him across the parking lot going up to the door. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna meet at the door. And then as I was watching him, he went inside and I was like, okay, well, it's really cold out, so no problem, we'll just meet inside. So like any normal person, I was expecting him to just be like waiting inside to meet me. But no, he just started walking around the store and I was like going after him. And at one point I literally thought he was like running away from me. So I finally catch up to him and he turns around and he looks at me and he goes, and I'm like, yeah, hi, it's me, like, hello, like, nice to meet you. He proceeds to say jack shit. I'm like, oh wow, he's like not interested in me, which is perfectly fine. Like, that's fine. Because usually when you're on a date and you meet someone, you're like, oh, you look really good. He said nothing. Literally nothing. And then he starts taking off around the store again. And I'm like trying to keep up with him because he's over a foot taller than me. So we're like racing around the store. So finally he decides like whatever he's looking for is like whatever. And we're going to leave that store. And I told him like, hey, I'll try to like focus on stores that have both like men and women stuff so you're not like super bored. This whole time I'm like trying to make conversation like, oh, do you like clothes shopping? Do you like this? Do you like that? And he's just giving me like one-word answers. So I'm kind of like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to shop for myself at this point. So I went into Francesca's and I'm looking around and I see this sweater and I'm like, oh, this is so cute. So I'm like holding it up and like showing him. He's not even looking. At this point, I'm like, you know what? You're like really quiet. And he goes, yeah, I like to stick to myself. Bitch, you're on a date. What do you mean? Long story short, he like could not keep conversation. We were in a sports store for like 30 minutes and he's like, oh, you probably aren't enjoying this. I'm like, really? So finally we leave and we go outside and he walks me to my car and he's like surveying my car. He's like walking around circles and he goes, oh, this is a 2023. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what's the interior look like? And I'm just like,
You can look through the window, you're not opening my car. But he's like, oh, it's nice. And so he comes around the car to my side, and I'm standing, like, opening the door, and he goes, that's it? Like, what do you mean that's it? That's it? Yes, that's it. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go out to lunch with you so you can, like, sit and stare at me eat and not talk to me? Like, yeah, that's it. So later I get a text from him that says something along the lines of, like, oh, I know you didn't have a good time. And I'm like, no, I didn't necessarily have a good time, but, you know, it's okay. Like, first time meeting people, sometimes awkward, whatever. And then he says, are you gonna stop talking to me? At this point, I'm just trying to let him down easy because I wasn't really attracted to him anyway. So I was just like, oh, we can still talk. I just don't want to really pursue anything more than friends, and I don't really think the attraction was there. He texts back, I mean, you looked fine. I looked fine. I looked fucking beautiful. Like, I had curled my hair, I did my makeup, I had a brand new outfit on. I was getting stopped left and right from women in the mall being like, oh my gosh, I love your outfit, you look so gorgeous. Like, I feel like those women could tell I was on a really shitty date. So then he, like, after I, like, let him down easy, he, like, texts me, it's like, this is how it always ends, like, blah, 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 blah. And I just, like, I'm like, I don't want to be made to feel bad about it, okay? So yeah, that was how the first date of 2025 went, and I'm really wishing that the next one, or the next few after that, don't go like that.
Oh my god, you guys, there's a cult going around, people asking questions in stores right now. Hold on, this is wild. Okay, let me backtrack. I'm at Savers the other day, and this girl stops me, and she's pretty. She's like late 20s, early 30s. She stops me, she said, hey, I like your shoes. I said, thank you so much. She said, where'd you get them? I said, StockX. She said, what's that? I was like, oh, it's like a resale app for shoes. She said, like Poshmark? I said, I don't think explaining shit to this bitch today. I said, yeah, exactly like that. I start to push my little cart along. She stops me, she says, where are you from? I was like, hold on now. Do you want my number? Do you want... Wait, do I still have game? A lot of people do mistake me as a lesbian. I don't really get it. They associate funny with lesbian. Whatever. So I tell her I said I'm from St. Louis. She's asking what I do for a living. She starts interrogating me. I was like, hold on now. Hold on now, this isn't Hot Ones. Bitch, compliments are supposed to be free. So if you're courting me with compliment, and you have another angle, now I'm pissed. Now you got me pissed. So she keeps asking me questions, you know, what does your boyfriend do for a living? What's his backstory? Blah, 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 blah. I feel like I'm on Ellen DeGenerate. I'm like, can I at least take a seat? Can we sit down for this interview? Listen, I'm so socially awkward, and she came in with a compliment. You know, that's strategic, because how am I gonna be like, excuse me, ma'am, can you shut the F up? Right after she told me she likes my shoes, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the law, that's like a Murphy law, you just don't do that. Finally, I had to cut her off. I said, hey, girl to girl, I gotta take a shit right now. Did I? No. But I needed it out. So anyways, fast forward, I go home. I tell my boyfriend about it later that night. He said, Danny, that's what happened to me yesterday. He was like, remember how I told you somebody asked about my shoes and they ruined the whole vibe? We were in Nordstrom and they were playing Back to 74 by Jungle. And my boyfriend and I pointed from across the room. We were like, hey, we were doing a little dance. You know, it's hard not to. It's like one of those songs you just have to dance. He was legitimately pissed at this dude because he was talked to the whole song. And my boyfriend just wanted to dance. He just needed to let out a little boogie. So my boyfriend and I are like telling each other lines to the script and they matched up word for word perfectly. I was like, oh my God, they got her ass. They got her ass so good. I was thinking this girl was trying to be my friend. I was about to invite her to go get some Chili's baby back ribs. How dare you? How dare you? And you know what? I take back my thank you for that compliment. Yeah, I want that on record. Because you cornered me in that store. And you harassed me. And I take back my thank you. She said she was going to check out my TikTok, so yeah. Check this. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was just harsh. You know what? If you gotta do your scheme, if you gotta do your little scheme to make your little money, do your little scheme to make your little money. But don't involve me. This is a warning, guys. I'm just trying to warn you. If somebody comments on your shoes in the department store, on your Zapatos, you walk away. Baby, you play Helen Keller. If she did it, so can you. My boyfriend and I got so giddy when we figured this shit out. We were like, conspiracy! He was like, did she tell you about Greg and Sarah that lived up in the mountains? And I was like, she told me about Greg and Sarah who lived up in the mountain. Listen, I don't know if this is the government. I don't know if this is Fed work. I don't know if it's as simple as a little pyramid scheme, but whatever it is, they're coming in hard. They sent in the forces. They're paying double time. So watch your back. Wear your ugly shoes. All right?
Get ready with me when I talk about all the signs I was getting cheated on that I ignored. First and foremost, we listen and we don't judge. If you're gonna judge, please scroll. So at the time that we were dating, it was when Be Real was a really big thing. Like, it was a really popular app and everybody was on it pretty much. So obviously I had my boyfriend on Be Real. So after a bit, I started to notice a pattern that this one specific girl was reacting hard eyes to like every single one of his Be Reals. So I ignored it at first because I thought it was weird. But then one day he posted a Be Real with me. We were like at a baseball game together, I'm pretty sure. And we were together, very obviously a couple. And he captioned it even. He was like, oh, cutest couple at our school or something like that. And like all kinds of people from our school reacted to it. Cause they're like, oh my gosh, they're together. But then I see this one girl, and it happens to be the same girl that keeps reacting with hard eyes. And she commented LOL on it. LOL. So I decided, I was like, this girl keeps messing with my man and I don't even know who she is because I've never heard of her. So I looked her up on Instagram. He followed her on Instagram, but her account was private, so I couldn't stalk her. But he was literally our only mutual. I mean, yeah, my only mutual with her was him. Like, nobody I knew followed her. So I was like, where is this girl from? Like, where did she come from? One day, me and my boyfriend were like on FaceTime and he was telling me how he posted a TikTok. And I didn't really use TikTok, but I was like, oh, if he has TikTok, like, I want to follow it and see his videos. So he gave me his TikTok and I followed it, right? He didn't really use it either, I guess. He only had like 11 followers, but they were public. So I checked them, his followers and following, and it was in there. That girl, she was in there. So I was like, that's really weird that they're close enough. Whoever this girl is, they're close enough that she's following him even on TikTok that he doesn't use. So I viewed her profile, but there was like, I was too scared to stalk, to be honest. This was like my conscience knowing that I would find something if I stalked, and I didn't want to lose my boyfriend. So I didn't stalk. I just viewed the profile and then I left. And then she viewed my profile back. I don't know what she stalked on there because at the time I didn't do anything. I had no posts or reposts, so probably wasted her time viewing my profile. But yeah. One day though, this is a big kicker. There's two things that happened like around the same time that really did it for me. First of all, I woke up like really early one morning and I don't know why. But I noticed really early that morning when I woke up, like before my alarms, that he had posted his Be Real like in the middle of the night at like when I had already gone to sleep. He posted it because I went to sleep before him, I guess. And it was like him trying to look hot. I was like shirtless and like I was taking like jawline pics. But this girl did not only react to it, she commented with hard eyes on it. She said, damn, with hard eyes. So I was like, that's it. You need to back off my man. But I fell back asleep because it was so early. And then when I woke back up to my alarm, I remembered it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go screenshot that and send it to my man and be like, what is this? But then it was deleted. He deleted the Be Real. So I gaslit myself and convinced myself that I made it up and it was a dream. But it was most definitely real. He would delete his Be Reals all the time, and I'd be like, why do you delete your Be Reals? He would be like, oh, I just decided I didn't like them. But I have a sneaky feeling that she would comment on them all the time, and he would just delete them before I noticed, and that was the one time I noticed. But yeah, I convinced myself it was in my head until I went and stalked her Instagram again, which was still private. But you know what you can see when they're private? You can still see their bio. And this girl's bio literally had his initial in it with a lock. And then you go to his bio. This is the weird thing. He had an initial in his bio, right? But it wasn't of her first name. It was of like her last name. But she had like 2 last names and I thought she went by the other one. So I was like, that's weird. Maybe it's just for himself because he had recently changed his last name to also start with that letter. These two people, they literally had the same initials. So I like gaslit myself that it had like nothing to do with each other and it was like for themselves or something. But it was so super weird. So after this little discovery, I finally worked up the courage to ask him who this girl was, because I was like, this is like solid enough evidence to be like suspicious and like what the hell. So I asked him. I texted him and I was like, hey, I have a question. And he was like, what is it? And I was like, who's, and I said her name. I straight up said her name. I was like, who is this? And he sent me a ... Let me know why I stayed. Let me know why I stayed. I was so dumb. He sent me a ... and I sent another question mark. And then he just said, girl from military school. Bro was being as dry as possible to keep from having to explain himself. But I, for some reason, went with it. I was like, why is she reacting hard? I just tell her be reals then. And then he was like, babe, it's literally be real. No way you're getting mad over be real right now. Like, he was so manipulative. He would make me feel so stupid that I would just believe him. So I'd be like, no, you're right. Like, I'm so dumb. Why do I care about a stupid app for teenagers? You're right. Like, it makes me so angry to think about. Like, why did I let him gaslight me like that? But yeah, I believed him. I didn't even bring up the other things I found. I didn't bring up the fact that she commented on his Be Real or their Instagram bios or anything. I just let it slide and I stayed with him because, to be honest, I was dumb and I just wanted a boyfriend. Like, I just didn't want to be single because I had been single for so long that I was tired of it and I just wanted a man. I didn't care if he was cheating on me. Also, there's the fact that this freshman literally told me he was sending her pictures and I didn't believe her. And then I found a screenshot that he sent me of his Snap map one time and she was on it after he told me he didn't have her on Snap. So I literally caught him in that lie too. Also, when I found this out, he would not let me go through his phone. Like, he was really weirdly secretive about his phone. He would be like, no babe, you can't go through it. But it's not because I have anything to hide. It's because I'm just really a private person. And I'm just like really weird about my phone. Like, I don't let anyone go through my phone. Like, it's not you, I promise. If a man tells you that, it is you. They don't want you to find something in there, that's why. If they have nothing to hide, they wouldn't be hiding it. Also, he would not post or repost me because I'm so dumb. I should have just put deodorant on my shirt because I forgot that I had a shirt on under my sweatshirt. Anyways, when I posted on my Instagram, he would like and comment, but when I would tell him to repost, he would just ignore me and pretend like I didn't say it, and then he wouldn't repost me. I just started my car and I realized that I have like no gas in it and I'm already late for school. Like, school started a minute ago, so not looking good for me. Anyways, please be nice to me in the comments. All this happened like a really long time ago. I was a sophomore, I was young and dumb, and if any of this happened right now, I would definitely handle it a lot differently. So yeah, I'm gonna go finish my mascara, but thanks for watching, bye.
This is your reminder to be extra cautious when you order something on DoorDash and you specifically tell the person to drop it off on your doorstep, but they want you to meet them outside. Today, I ordered a couple things from a nearby grocery store to have them delivered to me. And when my Dasher, Brittany, was finished checking out, I sent her step-by-step instructions on how to find my apartment building in the complex. It's not hard to find my apartment or my apartment building, but I like to send step-by-step instructions every time just to be kind and helpful because I know that dashing is not a fun job. So the first thing that I thought was a little bit weird was that Brittany arrived and was sitting down in the parking lot and I could see her location and she was sitting there for probably like 5 minutes. But I wasn't in a rush to get my things, so I didn't think anything of it. I just kept doing what I was doing and figured she would drop it off when she was ready. Then I got a message from her on the DoorDash app and she said, I need you to come down. So I sent a message back and I was like, why? She told me that she couldn't find my apartment, so I looked at her location on the map and I just texted her and told her how to get to my apartment from where she was at. Really simple. A couple minutes passed by and then she said, can you just come get it? I'm having a hard time. I was a little bit annoyed because I don't feel like my apartment is difficult to find, but it is what it is. I was like, sure, yeah, I'll come down. So I put my shoes on and I went out there. Tell me why it was like a 40-year-old man delivering the items that I ordered. Immediately no. So I go, are you Brittany? And this man goes, yeah, I'm Brittany. So I kind of stop in my tracks for a second and my brain is trying to calculate whether I should get my stuff from him or whether I should just turn around and book it back to my apartment. And precisely when I paused, this man looks around, looks up, and then back down at me and goes, oh, you guys have security cameras here. Yeah, we do. So I just laughed and played it off. I was like, yeah, they're trying to beef up security here. We've had some people breaking into cars. I walked forward, I grabbed my stuff, and I booked it out of there. I don't even want to know what would have happened if we didn't have security cameras here. So yes, just your friendly reminder to be extra cautious whenever you order anything on any kind of app where someone has to physically bring you something. Just be cautious out there, you guys.